terms of reciprocation, I can't for a second believe that Beijing would welcome with open arms the FBI, the CIA, the RCMP, CSIS, etc., into Chinese territory. So it's a bit of a double standard, isn't it?
Yes, well, we have not insisted on reciprocity. So the Chinese have not felt that they had to open up their country. And this is not just police stations. This is when we talk about, for instance, TikTok. American apps are not allowed in China, but we allow Chinese apps in our country. So the Chinese are taking advantage of us. And so we shouldn't be surprised about that. But the American people should be outraged at American presidents who have known about this and allowed this to continue. And this is not just a recent phenomenon. This has gone on for quite some time, China violating our sovereignty.
And Gordon, can you tell us, what do we know about those two individuals that were arrested in New York City earlier this week?
They were politically influential. There's that infamous photograph of one of them standing next to Eric Adams, who is now mayor of New York, and Chuck Schumer, the majority leader in the Senate. So we know that they made large donations to the Democratic Party. We have known this for quite some time, and it's only now. The thing about this, David, that is interesting is that we didn't learn about these police stations from our own government. We learned about it because of the Spanish-based NGO, Safeguard Defenders, who wrote a report about a year ago and who've updated that report to show the increase in the number of Chinese police stations around the world. So the FBI in the United States, they're just reacting to pressure. They weren't going to do this on their own. And that really shows how influential China is. China is more influential in the United States than the American people. And we ought to take note of that and understand that our republic is at risk.
You know, Gordon, this is scary to me because, I mean, the fact that this is okay with the Democratic Party, one of the ongoing stories we have right now in Canada is that the Chinese government was influential in the last two Canadian elections of 2021 and 2019, and perhaps even earlier. I guess what I'm getting at is that China on the international stage, it's a bad actor. It's not a nation you want to get in bed with. Even if it's politically expedient, it almost sounds treasonous to me. I know that's a harsh word, that you would allow a regime like that to carry out law enforcement, again, in a Western democracy.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. But, you know, whatever the motivation is of American and Canadian leaders, we know that they're not defending their countries. Their highest obligation, most solemn obligation, is to defend the United States and Canada from foreign attack. And they've completely failed to do that. So we have to understand that I don't think it's possible to accommodate China for various reasons. And that means we need to remove Chinese contacts from American soil. From the United States, because we have not been able, after decades, to find a way to accommodate it on an acceptable way.
That was an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. I'm Ezra Levant. Every weekday, I do a monologue about the topic of the day. Then I interview a fascinating guest, either in studio or via Skype. And then I read your mail, whether it's fan mail or hate mail, which is sometimes even more interesting. This is on our premium service, though, called Rebel News Plus. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. It's $8 a month or less if you buy a whole year in advance. You get my show every weeknight, plus Sheila Gunn Reid's show every week. It's called The Gun Show. It's pretty amazing. You know, we rely on you because we do not take a dime from the government. In Canada, that makes us almost unique. So please help us out and help yourself to some great journalism